Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Spartan Nation. We now bring in Spartan Nation senior writer John Schopp, who joins us each and every week to talk about the state of Michigan State football. Also, he picks out the 6 most intriguing games, and we pick winners and losers. We keep track of the ones we disagree on, and whether we disagree on one or all 6, at the end of the day, whoever won gets 1 point, just 1 point for the weekend. If we tie, it carries over like a skins game in golf. Last week, coming into this show, we were tied. I was up 1, but last week was worth 3. We only disagreed on 1 game, and I got it. So now I'm up 4. And John, I want to say this real quick. I've got 1 game that's really intriguing me, and I've never done this to you before. But if you don't pick it, and I think you will, but if you don't, we're going to add 1 extra point this week if I can get your blessing.
That is the nature of it, absolutely. We pick 6. We go up to 8 during the regular weeks if there's extra points of interest. And all of a sudden, folks, we are at the late October calendar. So these games are now getting more and more interesting. We saw some seasons crash, bam, boom last week. We saw some seasons in a position to take off. And this week is going to be no different. We got better games this week than maybe any so far.
All right, what are they, John?
Let's start in the Big Ten Conference with, I would say, upstart with a lowercase u, Indiana Hoosiers going to Nebraska. Is this possible? Indiana Hoosier football at Nebraska Cornhuskers.
I'm taking Nebraska only because it's at home, but man, I want to pick Indiana here bad.
I will pick Indiana here bad. We love it. Look, we may have seen Penix's best play as a quarterback that he'll ever have in Indiana in many ways. Indiana is still on the rise. This is a game that if they win, it is a program maker, and there's some issues at Nebraska right now that they can take advantage of. I'm going to go Crimson and Cream. I'm taking the Hoosiers to beat Nebraska. I'll go out on a limb. For the first and last time ever, that will be Indiana over Nebraska in Lincoln. How about this football game? It's all about the U. It's all about Miami. Miami football right now is where's the jewelry? Where's the TV camera? Winning is secondary at best at Miami. Miami is going to Pittsburgh. Somebody's season is going one way, another is going another way. I like Pittsburgh handily this week.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh wins this one by double digits.
Miami is a culture problem. It's not going to get fixed this week or this year. There is a game with one program that's had a big past tense and another one that's had a pretty big pass in a decent-sized current test. Notre Dame and Brian Kelly at the University of Michigan. Can Michigan get off the mat after their postseason observation was ended last week? Maybe so, but I love Brian Kelly at Michigan. I like the Irish in this one.
I totally do too. I'm in 100% agreement. I am all Irish here.
Texas University of Texas should have been possibly upset last week. Watch out. Trap game this week. They're going to TCU. TCU has not done much yet this year. They have not played their best football. Their best football is played this week. TCU evens things out and beats the Longhorns.
I'll tell you what, John. I was going to take TCU, but since you did, I'll take Texas.
All right. We've got 3 left. I've got 3 left. Maybe one of these will be the one you're talking about. The obvious one is a Southeast Conference team. I drove by the University of Auburn last week on my way south to take advantage of the bye week before running into a tropical storm. They're going to go further south than this week. They're going into a hornet's nest at LSU. Auburn at LSU.
Auburn is going to get destroyed.
They seem due for it. I agree. This is the best LSU team this far in the season ever. They've never been this good at this point in the season, even when they did win a national title with Nick Saban. The Iowa Hawkeyes are not going to win a national title this year. But the question I have is, do they have a shot in the West? If they do, they've got to take care of business this week, and they've got to take care of that business at Northwestern. I'm sorry, Purdue. No, I'm sorry. What am I saying? Northwestern. Iowa at Northwestern. Watch out for this one.
John, I'm going to tell you something. This game, to me, I'm shocked that you picked. I'm stunned you picked this game, because the game I want to talk about is in the Big Ten, and I'm stunned you didn't pick it. I don't even think it's close. I think Iowa's going to crush Northwestern.
Northwestern is 105. They're dead last. This looks like their season is already done and done. But they've got a chance here to dislodge Iowa. I'm going to take Iowa as well. I do think this is going to be closer than we think, and I believe it is so. In part because Iowa is going to take a run at the Big Ten West down the stretch. To do it, they'll have to deal with a couple other people in the West, and of course the guys who are leading the West until they face planted last week with the Wisconsin Badgers. The game of the week, as I see it, is Wisconsin at Ohio State. Any chance for the Badgers to bounce back?
No, they're going to get crushed.
I agree. Now, if we didn't hit that game we were talking about, what do you have?
John, your phone went out. What'd you say? We could hear you talking but couldn't make anything up. It's like there was a rag over the phone. What?
Yes. What is that game you're looking for in the Big Ten to round out this pitch six? And we'll just slide Iowa and Northwestern right out the window.
Okay, here is the game. And because we picked the most interesting games, I'm going to pick a team that we're going to be back here in 10 years talking about as a new power. They're not there today, but they're going to be there. Liberty at Rutgers.
Yes. It's an interesting game for a lot of reasons, including the fact that Rutgers is in great transition. When I think of that game, I see it as a great opportunity for Liberty to make a noise at a national level, let everybody know, hey, this is where we are. It's more than just what happened to our coach at the start of the year. But at the same time, I think that the rosters are maybe a little bit too different at the very top. If Rutgers doesn't win now, they don't win. I like Rutgers playing for each other this week in a close one.
I'm going to take Liberty, and I don't think it's going to be close. I love the coaching that they have there with Hugh Freeze, Liberty University, Jerry Falwell, whether you love him or hate him, saw Liberty as an opportunity to be the evangelical equivalent of Notre Dame. People have stepped up. Their facilities are amazing. They're winning some ball games, and I think Liberty gets bowl eligible with a win in the Big Ten. How big would that be for that program?
Well, it would be rather large because they got blanked to start of the year at Syracuse. So you're looking at this game as a measuring stick because, yes, Rutgers is a Big Ten team. They go to UMass, and then they've got BYU and UVA, which will be tough. And then they finish with New Mexico State. So I think this is a clear line in the sand for Liberty as to, okay, let's see what work we've done since September and see how we measure up, even though they're not as good as Syracuse, but to a Big Ten roster, quote-unquote Big Ten roster. So this game is more interesting. These are the 6 most interesting games of the week. That's what we're advertising, and I think we deliver. That's going to be an interesting one, but for some reason I'm thinking Scarlet Knights decide this is the week to play for ourselves and play for each other. The best of Rutgers, I think, shows up this week.
All right, John, we're talking about the state of Michigan State football. I don't think the program is in good shape. I think it's floundering. I think they're going to lose to Penn State, and if they do, the wheels are officially off. Agree or disagree?
Oh, yeah, I've got them losing 31-13.
Hold on. I got to write that down. Hold on, because you know I
Sure.
like to. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been including your predictions now.
Yeah, and some of us have been shockingly close on these so far. So when I look at it, these teams do not like each other. The wild dog defensive front of Penn State is going to get after Michigan State's quarterback. I believe multiple quarterbacks. When I watched the 24/7 last week of Arizona State and Herm Edwards, I was extremely impressed with a lot of things that they do, and of course that Herm Edwards says. And what he said off the top of the show was how football is a game you just can't cheat. You can't cheat this game. You practice so many more months than you play. There's no way around it. There's no shortcuts. You can't cheat it. And after I listened to him say that, what stood out to me was part of the reason Mark Antonio rotation of the coaches moving around the chairs in the offense got such a bad reaction initially and is getting killed at this point of the football season is that it looked like he was trying to take a cheat code. It looked like Michigan State offense was trying to take a shortcut to improving into success. And when you heard Mark D'Antonio say he couldn't make any significant changes on that side of the ball because it might not be the case that somebody could come in and get familiar enough with his players that soon, it was actually a giant slap across the entire college football world and all of the new coordinators that come in on a yearly basis, suggesting that they couldn't do the job. It kind of struck people like Michigan State football was trying to take a shortcut and trying to cheat the game. And now as you see the offense sitting right around 100 in most of the major categories that matter, maybe that's the result that you would expect when you take that approach.
John, I want to give you some stats. In the Big Ten, Michigan State's scoring offense is 12th. Now remember, they just had a bye week, so they didn't have to go backwards. Rushing offense is 12th. Everyone knows passing offense is deceptive because bad teams are behind and have to throw it more. They're 5th. And total offense, Michigan State is 11th. Is there any other way to look at those stats and say my question wasn't fair?
No, not at this point in the season. And nor was the criticism of the staff any of the last recent years on offense. When you try to jam a square peg into a round hole over and over, and you don't get the message that it doesn't fit, you threaten the foundation. And what we've seen at a very fast rate now is the foundation of the Michigan State football program coming under pretty severe attack. I think it's safe to say that it will not look the same a year from now as it does today. You cannot have the facilities, resources, fan expectation and demands and effort placed into a football program of this magnitude, trying to compete at this level of the sport and have those numbers be acceptable yet again. So I would think that we are approaching a really hard to believe scenario for a football program that, barely 2 years ago looked like it was ready to take off and get to a higher level under Mark D'Antonio and staff. Something went bad after that Holiday Bowl. Something went really, really wrong, and the coach kind of doubled down and pointed the guns at his feet, and unfortunately they've gone off for his offense again. As Spartan football has shot itself in the foot, and we've seen amazing repercussions with starters and key figures quitting. I don't think they quit the team or their teammates, Hondo. I think they quit their staff. And those kind of deletions, those kind of dramatic moves in the season threaten the foundation of this football program once again. And the only way it gets better is with production. And those numbers that you just talked about, if they don't get a good bit better before they don't get a good bit better fast, they're going to end really, really ugly yet again.
I totally agree with you. John, let me ask you this once. Are the wheels officially off the bus if they lose Saturday?
I think they're already off the bus. Hondo, this is a team and a program that wants to compete for championships, wants to compete for the East. For God's sake, this is a new era of the Big Ten East this year. The Meyer D'Antonio era was amazing, but it's over. So you got the balance of power in the East up for grabs. Everybody knows it. New quarterback at Penn State, new quarterback at Ohio State. To start the year, we didn't know how good he would be. The balance of power was up for it in the East. It was there to be taken. Michigan State did nothing to take it. In fact, they almost kind of looked like they said, "Oh, hey, here you go." I think the wheels are already off. I've seen people quit this program. I've seen people quit their coaching staff. I don't remember that happening before. I think the wheels on 2019 are off. I think they're going to get hammered on Saturday. And at that point, I don't know what part of these wheels are going to be left. So I'm maybe a little down the road already on that one.
I agree, John. I think it's going to be fascinating. John, I'm just curious, would it be fair for people in the media to ask Mark D'Antonio, is he ready to definitively commit to being back next year?
I think it's necessary. There's chatter across the college football world that that's not the case. people are starting to act around his program like it's not the case, I think it's a very fair question to ask. Look, this is a long time now. This job has not gotten any easier. It's time to know. That's a starting point. The best thing for his program and for Michigan State football is to get a very clear answer whether he's going to return or not. They're about to enter another bye week after, obviously, Penn State. It's a very fair time to ask that question. And if he's not willing to address it until after the season or a later date, that's a bad sign for the coming year or two, Michigan State football.
His name is John Schopp, Spartan Nation senior writer, the state of Michigan State football. State of Michigan State football. State of Michigan.